Okay, it's been 5 minutes and this is simmering away nicely. Hopefully yours is looking something like this. And I'm going to turn this, I'm going to put the pan now onto one of the back burners. So it's on a medium heat. I've got it on one of the back burners and I'm going to turn that down to medium. So it just simmers away in the background whilst we make our sauce. So hopefully you've got your 2 pans to make the sauce, one slightly bigger than the other. And what we're going to do is, because a white sauce and a cheese sauce is essentially the same thing, just with one has cheese, one will have parsley in it, we're going to make the whole thing in this pan, in the bigger pan, and then transfer half to the smaller pan so you'll have both your sauces. I think that made sense. Right, so with the slightly bigger pan, I've got it on the small burner and I'm going to add in the butter now so we can get that melting and start making the sauce. Go. And then we're just going to melt this down, melt the butter down, and then we're going to add in the flour. I'm just going to turn the heat down on the back. It really just wants to be a gentle simmer now. So for the bolognese sauce. And by melting the butter over a quite low heat, it just stops the butter from browning when it would burn, which wouldn't taste nice. There we go, it's getting there. And it's so nice and so rewarding when you make your own lasagna, because they're so readily available in supermarkets. So pretty much every restaurant seems to have a lasagna these days, but you try making your own, meat-free, absolutely delicious. And I bet you when you saw all the ingredients you never thought it would be this easy. The butter's almost melted, and then we're going to add in the plain flour. Go, just swirl it around in the pan just to finish off the melting. Hopefully you're pretty much there. So we can add in the plain flour. So it's just 2 dessert spoons of plain flour, like that. Here we go. And we'll stir this in straight away. Just lift it off the heat slightly and stir it in. And it should instantly come together into what's known as a roux. And that's the basis of our sauce. Here we go. I can pop it back down on the heat, and we just need to cook this for 30 seconds to a minute, just to cook out the flour so it doesn't taste of raw flour. Just give it a stir. This is so easy to make a cheese sauce or a white sauce, and it just tastes so much nicer than little sachets and granules. We'll just give it a little bit longer. Here we go. And we're going to add the milk in next, just bit by bit. Okay, so we can just add in the milk, and if you watch how much milk I put in, it's just a dash to start off with, and then we're going to stir it in. So if you watch, just a little dash of milk into the pan, and then stir it in. go. Just keep stirring it and it should come into a ball into the middle. So you've got a ball like that. And now we just need to add in the same amount of milk again, and we'll just do this a couple of times with a little bit of milk, and then we'll be able to start adding more milk each time we go. So milk in and then stir it. It might feel like it won't stir in, but just nice and gently keep stirring it and it will work. Trust me. You'll have a lovely, creamy, lump-free sauce. Here we go. So it's come back to the ball, so a little bit more milk. And this is all we're going to do until all the milk's used up. Just keep repeating this process. But as it gets slightly thinner, we can add a little bit more milk each time. Here we go. Stir, stir, stir. And it's amazing. Look at this. Yours is probably looking like this. Just looks like a horrible lumpy mess. But don't give up. It will turn into a beautiful shiny sauce. Stir, stir, stir. And see how now it's slightly thinner now each time. It'll drop off a spoon now. So each time you get it back so that all the milk's incorporated, you can add more milk in. So I'm going to add a little bit more milk in now. And then just gently stirring it. And hopefully your other pan with the tomatoes and the peas is just simmering away nicely in the background. There we go, just keep stirring. Stirring, stirring, stirring. This is the only laborious bit, and it will be worth it. Here we go. I knew I shouldn't have had the heating on whilst I was doing this. This is getting hot. So it's important to stir it quickly though. Now, quickly but gently, if that makes any sense. See, so now it's starting to look much more like a sauce now. So we can add in more milk. And see, I've added a lot more milk that time, probably about 100 millilitres. And then stir, 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 stir. I think you've got the hang of it by now. Well, at least I hope you have. There we go. Okay, and so we're going to add in more milk, and we want it to be nice and thin because the cheese and the parsley will help thicken it up. There we go. Perfect. So if you've still got a little bit of milk left, pour that in. If you're at this consistency, that's what you want. So it just nicely goes off the back of a spoon. Okay. So what we're going to do now is we're just going to season it. So a good pinch of salt and pepper, and then we're going to pour roughly half into your smaller pan. So a nice good pinch of salt. And remember, none of this has any added salt to it. So you can, by adding your own salt, you're just adding flavour. Okay. So if your sauce is like this, just nice and shiny and lump free, we're going to pour half of it into the smaller bowl. Okay. That'll do. And we can turn the heat off both of them now, and you can go and get your parsley, your cheese and your English mustard. And you don't need to bother about anything at the back. That's absolutely fine. And that's all the hard work done now. We're almost ready to build the lasagna. So with your chopped parsley, straight into one of the pans, doesn't matter which, and give it a stir in. So I've put the chopped parsley into the larger of the two pans to make and that'll be the perfect white sauce now. Here we go. And now we just need to add in the cheese to your other bowl, your other pan, the smaller pan. And I need another spoon, which I don't have out. And we'll just stir this into the cheese sauce. And we may need to just thin this out with a little milk, but the heat of the sauce will melt the cheese. I think it's looking fine. And by adding all the cheese to the sauce, it means we don't need to bother putting any cheese on top of the lasagna, because there'll be plenty in here. And then 1 teaspoon of English mustard into the cheese sauce. And it just brings out the flavour of the cheese absolutely fantastically. So we'll stir that in. And then we can turn the heat off your tomatoes and peas. And don't worry if the cheese hasn't quite melted yet. It's obviously all going into the oven and it'll be absolutely fine. So you can turn the heat off and take everything over to your work surface. Right, now hopefully you've got your lasagna sheets ready. It's just a simple case of layering now. Just like what my wife does in winter apparently. Still not sure what that means. So first off, we're going to have a layer, just a small layer of what would be the bolognese sauce on the bottom of your dish. Just a couple of spoons of it, and then flatten it out with the back of the spoon. Just looking to cover the bottom of your oven dish. And then we're going to put a layer of lasagna sheets. And this is just so that the lasagna sheets cook through perfectly. If they were to sit on the bottom, they'd go all hard. And I don't know what shape of dish you're using. You might have to break the lasagna sheets to fit, but you go ahead and do that. Just one layer though should be perfect. There we go, just like that. Then it's the white sauce now. So you need to pour the white sauce over the lasagna sheets and just try and get it so that it goes in a roughly evenly, so when you spread it out with your spoon you'll get pretty much a whole layer. It doesn't matter if it's not completely covered. You have all of the white sauce. Go. And then just with the back of your spoon, just ease it into the corners to try and get a full layer. If there's not enough white sauce to completely cover it, don't worry, it'll be doing its job fantastically, because we didn't get you to measure out half of the sauce, so I can't blame you if it doesn't cover it. So next we need to add in the rest of your bolognese in one layer. So just spooning it over. This is going directly on top of the white sauce, and then we're going to add in another layer of lasagna sheets. And the peas work so well with this. Obviously they're fantastically healthy, but they taste great and they just add a really nice bite to the dish. There we go. And just spreading it out with the back of the spoon. It'll mix together slightly, but don't worry a bit about that, that's absolutely fine. And then another layer of the lasagna sheets. Then after that, all we need to do is pop the cheese sauce on top and pop it in the oven, and in no time at all you'll be having your lovely lasagna. So your sauce nice and thick, just try and spoon it over the lasagna the same way as you did the white sauce, and we'll spread it out with the back of the spoon. So just over the lasagna sheet. Yeah. And this will thin out slightly in the oven as the cheese melts as well. So don't worry if it looks like it won't cover it. We'll spread it out and we'll see how it looks in a second. Okay, hopefully yours is looking something like this. And then using the back of a spoon, just gently ease it over. The main thing is to get the lasagna sheets covered. Go. That will pretty much do it. So all you need to do now is pop this into the oven for 35 minutes, and then when you take it out of the oven, I really do think that it's best to, you could obviously, it's all cooked so you can eat it, but remember it's been in the oven at 190 degrees, so I would leave it for 10 to 15 minutes afterwards. But if you carry on watching, you'll see, I'll take mine out of the oven in 35 minutes time and you'll see what they should look like. But that's it. Okay, I've just taken mine out of the oven after 35 minutes and it just looks fantastic. It's gone all dark, that's all the cheese. These are the best bits, so make sure that you save a bit for yourself. All the pasta will be cooked, but it's just about still bubbling, so I would definitely leave it for at least 10 minutes. 15 would be better, just for it to set slightly. But that's it done. Hopefully yours will be looking something like this, and I hope you enjoy it.